Hello, and welcome to a brief presentation from the Department of Neuroimaging at King's College London. Here we want to present an hypothesis paper we published in 2015 that introduced the X-linked hypothesis of brain disorders. What is this hypothesis? Well, for some time it has been known that the brain is enriched in genes from the X chromosome. With some of our recent work, we have shown that the enrichment is in one particular cell type, the neurons. We here prove that the consequence of this observation is that all the brain disorders that have male prevalence have neuronal etiology, while the origin of those disorders that have female prevalence must be thought in other cerebral substrates. So let's start with the basics. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. The 23rd for females is a pair of X chromosomes, one inherited from the mother and one from the father. Males have one X chromosome inherited from the mother and one Y chromosome inherited from the father. To manage this excess of X chromosomes, one copy of each pair is randomly suppressed in females, so that they have a form of mosaic genetic composition in their cellular makeup. In males, instead, all cells have the same X-linked genes. Because of what we discussed before, females are less likely to suffer from genetic brain defects because of their mosaic disposition. Males, instead, do not have backup copies for their X-linked genes. Hence, they are more susceptible to genetic brain disorders. And this is in fact demonstrated by a lot of the epidemiological data. It has been known for a long time that brain and X chromosome are strongly linked, as the chromosome contains 6 to 7 times the expected proportion of genes associated with mental disorders. Robert Lacker, in 1972, first proposed these ideas with particular reference to intelligence. X chromosome-linked IQ would in fact explain IQ data such as those in the slide from the Scottish Mental Survey of 1932, where males and females out of a 80,000 sample had the same mean IQ but clearly different variances, with males exhibiting higher percentages of very high and very low IQ. This finding is obviously quite controversial, and we suggest the listeners to watch the very civilized debate between Elizabeth Spilke and Steve Pinker, which is on YouTube on that particular link. What is also interesting about these data is that the Oedipus complex of Freudian memory is actually not an accident, but is bound into genetics, as male boys inherit their male genes and their brain genes from their mothers. Our interest, however, is not in intelligence, but in brain disorders generally. In this paper, we demonstrate that all disorders with known neuronal etiology indeed have male prevalence, while for those with known non-neuronal origin, the prevalence is for females or is balanced, as the data on this slide clearly show. As this is the ultimate goal, this slide clearly shows the prevalence for common brain disorders for which the etiology is still unknown. Disorders like multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, schizophrenia, and so on. The hypothesis then predicts that those disorders with female prevalence, such as Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, and depression, will be found with a non-neuronal origin, while those disorders with male prevalence, such as schizophrenia, Parkinson's disease, will be found to be of neuronal origin. And this is extremely important. The conclusion is that this observation may be the key to drive future therapy discoveries and biomarker discoveries for the very early stages of these disorders. Thank you very much for listening.